السعادة حضرات السيدات والسادة السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you this evening to the Demo Day event of the GeoTech Innovation Program. The UAE is quickly establishing its position in space sciences globally as it leads the world's first pan-Arab space program. The nation will be fully funding the space program's first satellite, which will launch in the year 2022, enabling new players in the Arab region to accelerate their space exploration initiatives while collaborating across borders for the benefit of the region's economy and all of humankind. The UAE Space Agency and Krypto Labs have embarked on a journey to foster innovation in manifestation of the UAE Vision 2021 of creating a knowledge-based economy. Achievement of Vision 2021 requires the skills, energy, enthusiasm, and commitment of the nation's young people. In alignment with this shared vision, the UAE Space Agency and Krypto Labs have been working together in seeking UAE-based talent and empowering youth to achieving innovative solutions to address real-world problems. Hence, the GeoTech Innovation Program was established as a unique partnership between the UAE Space Agency, a leading prestigious public entity, and Krypto Labs, a private accelerator and innovation hub, with the common mission to unveil Emirati talent and develop their skill set in the field of space sciences and its applications, in line with the sustainable development of the UAE. The GeoTech Innovation Program was designed with the aim to accelerate the growth of two startups and transform their ideas in the field of satellite data into commercially viable and scalable market-ready products through a meticulously crafted incubation program that was executed by Krypto Labs. The GeoTech Innovation Program has received well over 80 applications from university professors, students, entrepreneurs, and engineers, from private and public entities and educational institutes in the UAE and abroad. As part of the program, we have visited over 20 universities and innovation centers across the UAE to encourage students in unleashing their talent and their potential. And some of those exceptional university students from the GeoTech University Roadshow are actually here with us tonight, and they will be showcasing their unique ideas. The two selected startups of the GeoTech Innovation Program are Farmin and Ayn Astra. They will be presenting their achievements here tonight as a result of the 5-month incubation program. During this time, the startups nurtured and grew their ideas into viable businesses with the support of mentors, industry experts, and the program team. We are very proud in witnessing how Farmin and Ayn Astra joined the incubation program back in March with only an idea, and to be standing here tonight presenting their newly established startups. So I want to emphasize that the highlight of tonight's event is not about seeking and scouting existing well-established startups. It is about creating startups from an idea. Thank you all for your attention, and I trust that you will have a pleasant evening here tonight. Next, I'd like to welcome on the stage the Director General of the UAE Space Agency, His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Al-Ahbabi, who will be giving a speech on behalf of the UAE Space Agency.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good evening to you all. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. Saleh and his team for inviting me to join you this evening to see the first joint project between the Space Agency and Krypto Lab. I would like to take this opportunity and say a few words about UAE Space Program. As you might know and witness, UAE has identified space as part of its current and future. Today, UAE has the largest space sector in the region. In terms of investment, in terms of number of satellites, today the UAE own and operate 10 satellites, state-of-the-art satellites in the remote sensing and satellite communication. Today, UAE has invested more than $6 billion in space activities across, either in the area of communication, remote sensing, and now space exploration. We have around 1,500 people are working in the space sector. We have fully regulated space sector where we, in the last few years, worked on all required regulation that will help further develop our space sector in terms of policy, strategy, and law. This is kind of unique because we are starting our space program, so we have this opportunity to draft, all these regulation and the required documents that will help us to navigate safely to develop the space sector. You might know within less than probably 2 weeks, actually exactly 2 weeks from today, UAE will launch its first astronaut. Hazza al-Mansouri will go to the International Space Station as the first Arab astronaut to the International Space Station. Hazza will go on 25th of September around 6 o'clock in the evening from Baikonur. Baikonur, there's a platform where all astronauts launched to space from that. It's in Kazakhstan, and I encourage everybody to spread the word, and because it's a national mission, and we have to be proud of that achievement. We also have another interesting and ambitious space program, which is the Mars mission, the HOPE. This is exactly around probably in next July of next year, less than 1 year, UAE will launch the first Arab and Islamic mission to Mars. What does it mean? It means a lot on the international space map. And especially the mission is driven by science, so UAE will contribute in the area of science for humanity. Our mission called the HOPE, and this is targeted to inspire and to open the minds of our youth, not only in UAE, but across the region. And as you know, UAE is always working as a model and a torch for better future for the whole Arab world. We're also taking another ambition initiative, which is the forming of the first Arab Space Cooperation Group. UAE has worked on that mission since 2 years. This year we managed to get 11 countries. There are more, other 5 countries will join this year. And the idea is to spread, space activities. So this region can join the world in terms of, space exploration, space activities, because our region in this part of the world, it's very, space applications is very critical in terms of identifying the natural resources, inspiring the young people, and also to represent and to regain, the good reputation of this region when it was flourishing in terms of science and astronomy. I would like also to emphasize that what we do in the Space Agency is based on partnership. And tonight, we are proud that we work with the Krypto Lab to drive innovation and also to try to bring space to our national economy. We will continue working with the Krypto Lab. We're also working with different universities and entities to help our young people to start finding their ways and also to help our space sector to further develop. I would like also to congratulate these 2 companies that they have achieved this stage, and I am committed to work further with Dr. Saleh and his team to generate more startups and more solutions. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We congratulate the UAE Space Agency for all of its ambitious initiatives and for being a global leader in the space industry. And we're also very honored and privileged to have had the opportunity to work with the Space Agency in an innovation program. Next, I would like to call upon the Managing Director of Krypto Labs, Dr. Saleh Al-Hashimi, who will be giving a speech on behalf of Krypto Labs. تفضل دكتور.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I start, Your Excellency, I'd like to thank you first. I'd like to thank also your team members and my team members, because I think they are the real champions who have facilitated what we will see today. So thanks to all of them, and our experience with them has indeed been humbling. So our experience with them was indeed very humbling. They came across as swift, fast, and effective, which is what startups should be. So, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GeoTech Innovation Program Demo Day. We have all gathered today to celebrate exceptional individuals and determined teams whose solutions hold the potential to impact thousands, if not millions, of people across the globe. The first Arab Space Coordination Group was initiated by the UAE earlier this year and joins 11 Arab nations on a mission to advance the regional space sector. The group aims to develop an advanced satellite that monitors the planet, its environment and climate, and this is not the first time that Arab nations aim to excel in the space sciences and create a global impact. In the 9th century, the foundations of advanced astronomy emerged from the Arab world, as has been mentioned just now, and these contributions shaped the space sciences as we know them today. What's particularly significant about the Arab Space Coordination Group is that its first satellite is named 813, the year it all began, and that date which marks the beginning of the scientific revolution in the Arab world. The UAE aims and will succeed to lead the scientific movement in the region and reignite the potential of the Emirati and Arab youth, which is consistent with the values and vision of the father of the nation, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, may his soul rest in peace. The UAE is proudly one of the world's top countries with the largest value of investments in the space sciences. Investing in our youth is not only an investment in scientific achievement, it is an investment in our future and a recognition of what young Emiratis can do to humankind. As Anas just mentioned, the Emirati youth play a central role to advancing our economy, and we entrust them together with the National Space Agency to be leading this in the region. Essentially, young minds are the backbones of economies. And indeed, if you look at the numbers in all of the economies, these startups play a very, very important role. They end up being the SMEs, even if they don't end up being the Googles or the Microsofts, they are still the backbone of the economy. The emergence of new ideas have paved the way for the fourth industrial revolution, and this is catalyzed by the efforts of pioneering individuals and teams who charge through challenges to create impact on a local and global scale. So at Krypto Labs, I'll just spend a few minutes at the end doing some maybe advertising, but at Krypto Labs, basically, our major role is to empower these organizations, whether it's incubation, acceleration, which was mentioned by Mr. Anas, but we take every step of their role and try to find an opportunity to support them. Behind us, we have around 20 startups. Behind us, we have around 2,000 startups within our global reach, and we would like to offer these startups as much as possible the support needed to flourish and succeed. One guy shared with me one time the outcome of these incubation. He told me, Saleh, you know, usually when someone starts with an idea, by the time he leaves incubation, it is almost a completely different idea than he suspected in the beginning. So this shows you the value of support and the value that comes from incubators and all of the support system around to make this idea marketable and flourish within the business industries. So with that, I'd like to end my speech. I thank again everyone who worked on this and looking forward to the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saleh, for the inspirational speech. And we're also very fortunate to have you as our guide and mentor, and as a very successful visionary that has been behind a number of leading innovative disruptions that have taken place right here out of Abu Dhabi in the last couple of years. So we're very fortunate to have you as our lead and as our guide. Next, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to show you a brief video about the GeoTech Innovation Program. Our vision closely aligns with the UAE Space Agency's commitment to position the UAE as a global leader in space sciences. The GeoTech Innovation Program was meant to do exactly this. We are also contributing to the UAE Vision 2021 in terms of transforming the UAE into a knowledge-based economy.
The GeoTech Innovation Program incubated 2 business startups and helped them transform their ideas into viable and market-ready products.
This program is fully aligned with the UAE Space Agency. We are working with local partners to develop local capabilities and talents in various aspects of space-related science and technology.
يساهم في توفير منصة للمواهب الإماراتية لاستكشاف مواهبهم وتعزيز مهاراتهم في علوم الفضاء وتطبيقاتها بما له من إسهامات عالية في التنمية المستدامة لدولة الإمارات.
We are a geospatial image intelligence company that provides continuous monitoring for land deformation to our clients. The GeoTech Innovation Program gave us an opportunity to transform an idea to actual business. The UAE Space Agency and Krypto Labs provided us with continuous feedback at every stage of the project, and we are Ayn Astra.
Farmin is a smart agriculture platform that combines satellite imagery with artificial intelligence to maximize farm production and minimize waste. We have successfully tested the product across many farms in UAE and we received good feedback. Krypto Labs provided me with continuous mentorship. In this program, I had lots of exposure to the business side and product development. The UAE Space Agency opened door for Farmin to participate in international summits and connected us with key stakeholders.
من خلال إدارتي للبرنامج أجد أن هناك الكثير من المواهب الإماراتية التي تحتاج للدعم، وهناك الكثير من الفرص التي يجب عليهم استغلالها واللجوء إلى أصحاب الخبرة والجهات المختصة في الدولة لدعمهم في تحويل هذه الأفكار المبتكرة الإبداعية إلى حلول ومنتجات تطبيقية قادر على أنه من خلالها إنشاء شركة قد في المستقبل تدعم الاقتصاد المحلي.
We encourage all entrepreneurs and startups to venture into these areas and be the next disruptor of the space industry.
I look forward to seeing new entrepreneurs joining this journey and transforming their ideas into viable products and real startups.
One strategic objective for the UAE is to create or generate a new talent from UAE national.
I encourage you to follow your passion and achieve your dreams. Execution is all that matters.
To future entrepreneurs, just be stubborn. That is what we do.
Before we call upon our 2 finalists to pitch their startup, I'd like to welcome together a panel of esteemed members to have a panel discussion regarding the topic. So first, I'd like to start off in terms of the seating arrangement from left to right with Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi, Managing Director of Krypto Labs. Dr. Khalid Al-Hashmi of Space Mission, the Director of Space Mission, Science and Technology at the UAE Space Agency. Mr. Jassim Nasser, Chief Strategy Officer at Thuraya Telecom Company. Dr. Wathiq Mansour, Chair of the Electrical Engineering Department and Director of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center at the University of Dubai. Mr. Asher Siddiqui, Advisor and Head of Technology Investments at ADFG. Mr. Alan Herbert, Vice President of the Business Development and Strategy at NanoRacks, a space tech startup. And last but not least, let me introduce to you Dr. Muhammad Adnan, who is currently working on various R&D initiatives as a scientist in various initiatives at Krypto Labs and leading experiential learning platform Laboxatory. He has previously worked at NASA, and he will be running the panel discussion this evening.
We have Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi. He holds a PhD in chemical engineering from Tufts University in the USA. He is also the CEO of Algorithma and the managing director of Krypto Labs. He is currently a board member of 500 Startups, which is a venture fund and seed accelerator in Silicon Valley. He also serves as a board member of Aleph Education, an education technology company. He has extensive experience as senior leadership in positions all across businesses, government, and academia. Please welcome Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi. Also, we have Dr. Khalid Al-Hashmi. He is the Director of Space Missions and Science and Technology. He is also the Chief Technology Officer at the UAE Space Agency. He is currently spearheading the national space missions and satellite programs. He is also the Director of National Space Science and Technology Center, or the NSSTC, in the UAE University. Please welcome Dr. Khalid Al-Hashmi. Next, we have Mr. Jasim Nasser. He is the Chief Strategy Officer of Thuraya. He leads the Strategy and Business Development Division, coming with over 20 years of experience in diverse areas from the satellite industry, including strategy development, spectrum and regulatory management, and market intelligence. One interesting point about Mr. Jasim is he has graduated with the first class honors from Khalifa University of the UAE in communications engineering. Please give him a big round of applause. Next, we have Professor Wathiq Mansour. He has a PhD in computer engineering from Aston University. He has published several research papers in the areas of artificial intelligence, innovation and management, communication networks, intelligent systems, web services, and neural networks. His current research is in the area of innovation in technology and management. He is also focusing on smart cities and Internet of Things and communications infrastructure. Please welcome Dr. Wathiq. Next, we have Mr. Asher Siddiqui. Mr. Asher currently heads the global technology investments at ADFG. With more than 20 years of experience in mergers and acquisitions, venture capital, and tech startups, he also has experience in the global leadership team at 500 Startups in Silicon Valley. He is currently in the advisory board of tech investment under Abu Dhabi Financial Group. Please give him a big round of applause. Next, and finally, we have Mr. Alan Herbert, who is the Vice President of Business Development and Strategy at NanoRacks, where he handles the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia offices in the UAE as well. He is personally and professionally committed to space-driven ventures and space education. He has a degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Southern California. Please give him a big round of applause. So we have a very smart panel over here, and let's see what we can gain from the panelists and their experience as well. So thank you for joining, esteemed panelists. Our panel discussion will be centered around the future and challenges of space tech startups in the UAE. We'd like to gain your insights, and to begin with, in the best interest of time, I would start with my questions with the CEO of Algorithma, Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi. So, Dr. Saleh, what do you think, what could founders of private SMEs or startups of young space nations, such as the ones in UAE, do to take on challenges of the space?
Thank you for your question. I'll try, of course, this is a very broad question. I'll try to the best of my knowledge and also to the best of my experience, because I'm sure from other angles, if you look at this question, you will have different answers. But in terms of founders have a lot of different challenges and difficult challenges. But I'd like you to take a minute and try to imagine a founder. So a founder has usually a wonderful idea that needs to be honed in many respects. And unfortunately, a founder usually does not have like 20 years of experience. So I advise founders a lot. I advise them to listen to whether it's incubators or a support group, but they should have a support group that have a lot of experience with startups that can explain to them the challenges. For example, they need to have grit, because in the initial period, they will not have any traction in the product. You know, a good idea is as good as it is, but on the ground, it's only good once you have an MVP and it can sell and it has a very good value proposition. So as much as possible, they have to educate themselves around what's important in the space sector, what are the challenges technically, but at the same time, in terms of being able to sell commercially, they should be able, for example, to growth hack, to make sure that they can acquire as many customers as possible, and they should be able to listen for the feedback initially and be able to fine-tune the product to make it a better market fit. So I talked about two things like the market fit, growth hacking, being able to listen and getting some experience from others who went through this route. But there's much more examples in this. But so in summary, I'd like to say they have to learn a lot from different fields in the beginning. They have to be able to turn their product into a product that the market wants or a client wants in the space industry. And they should have the perseverance to continue for a few years. Because it takes a few years to actually hit the market, get some feedback, and be able to at least participate, whether they live, to see themselves grow or not. So that's my few cents about your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saleh. That was actually quite interesting. As a leader of many startups, which we have heard that being stubborn is what you need to lead your startup to growth. Now that we have SMEs and startups and an entire ecosystem being nurtured thanks to the UAE Space Agency and definitely other government organizations, I'd like to ask Dr. Khalid. Dr. Khalid, in your view, what are the roles of investors, intermediaries, and governments, particularly in the space sector, to initiate and those who are growing in the UAE?
I think the three main stakeholders that you have mentioned are very important for not only for space sector, but for any industry sector if we want to grow. Now, in terms for the space sector in the UAE, what we have observed, there is an increased number of companies interested in the UAE. However, also we encourage the local companies, to tap into these opportunities, which will be only available for a short period of time, because so many companies are coming to the UAE, and we need to increase also the network or the matching with these international companies. The UAE Space Agency are doing this at the moment, but we see it's a little bit lack, from local entrepreneurs or investors, to get into space. Maybe it's hard, maybe it's difficult, but there is a big opportunities for them, In terms of the government, it's interesting. It has different roles. That depends. If you look at the UAE country, United Arab Emirates country, it moved into, it's an emerging, we can classify it as an emerging space country or developing country. So it is moving from an investment strategy to innovation strategy. So the last 15 years or 20 years, we have listened to the Director General Mohammed Al-Ahbabi. He mentioned that over the last 20 years, the UAE spent around $6 billion. And if we analyze this, we will notice these were mainly investment, establishing companies like Yasat, like Thuraya, like other companies, investing on establishing local research centers. Mohammed Ibrahim Space Center in Dubai, a new research center in Al Ain on satellite. So that period, it was mainly an investment. However, we see now we are moving into an innovation strategy, hoping that the initial investment are realizing by building capabilities in local companies. So hopefully it will reduce the burden in the government, and these companies will start investing in R&D, developing new technologies, enhancing their products. For example, Strata are investing in Khalifa University in composite lab. That's for what purpose? From the initial seed, and hopefully with this investment they will improve their products. So it depends, the role of the government to be enablers, but it changed, as the country progress, from lagging country or emerging country to more frontier country. So the role will be different, during each phase.
That's, thank you so much for your response. That's actually quite interesting. What is interesting is we have been seeing, not only from Thuraya or Al-Yasat, we are going to be having hopefully more companies coming up, startups building up their ideas, and how the government is actually giving so many different opportunities, and this message is actually also for the university students, is you have the government and who are actually helping entrepreneurs to establish their idea and grow their businesses. And as Dr. Khalid mentioned, as the government is moving towards different sectors, especially in cutting-edge fields such as satellite technology, and also the government is also moving towards artificial intelligence in space. And Dr. Khalid also mentioned about Thuraya, which is also supported by the UAE Space Agency. Now, I would address my next question to the Chief Strategy Officer of Thuraya, Mr. Jassim. So with the increasing awareness of artificial intelligence in the UAE, where do you see artificial intelligence or machine learning in general addressing problems encountered in the satellite businesses?
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. So today, artificial intelligence and machine learning use cases are being investigated in the satellite industry for two main purposes. One is to solve existing problems, and two is to come up with new concepts which could enable new capabilities in the satellite industry. In other words, artificial intelligence and machine learning should help us or support us in the future to reduce costs and create new revenue streams. Now, that being said, there are other areas where use cases are being investigated, studied. For example, from technical perspective, the European Space Agency is studying things like interference reduction or optimization of radio resources or efficiently managing networks. And many of you know that different companies, startups, are now planning to launch complex and large satellite constellations. For example, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos are all planning to launch thousands of satellites in the future. And to manage and control these satellites is going to be a very difficult task. And I think artificial intelligence, machine learning can play a big role in such an activity. At the end of the day, we have satellite systems that are very valuable and they are very critical as part of the infrastructure. And some of them hold a strategic value that is beyond the financial value. And artificial intelligence, if it can help us with real-time decision-making to protect and operate these systems in a good way, then that would be, of course, interesting. Today, where is artificial intelligence or machine learning within the satellite industry? I think we're just scratching the surface. And I think today we're focusing more on value-added services rather than on just reducing cost. To give you an example from the world of IoT and M2M, Internet of Things, you'll see the applications providers, the platform providers for applications augmenting their platforms with artificial intelligence in order to provide value-added services, not by just providing information, but also by providing value-added services based on analytics, which would enable the end customer to make faster and better decisions. In fact, the customer should not really intervene in making decisions. The system should be so autonomous based on AI to make the decisions in real time. I'd like to conclude with another example from the Earth observation and remote sensing satellite industry. Artificial intelligence was used in estimating the global hourly radiation from satellite images. Now, when the results from AI were compared with the results from multivariate regression approach modeling, it was found that AI provided better behavior results. So you can see that there is real value for AI in the satellite industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing a wealth of experience and knowledge. And this is definitely an opportunity to see what are the gaps in the market, especially from the satellite industry and the emerging new space where we have suborbital or orbital satellites requiring a lot of artificial intelligence algorithms as well. As we all increase in our awareness in artificial intelligence, we could actually work with companies like Thuraya to build more solutions and close those gaps that exist in the market. Now, speaking of shaping the new space where private entities such as the new entrepreneurs who would be pitching very soon, we do require entrepreneurs from academia and R&D institutions or even other institutions basically contributing to the new space. They should be continuously feeding innovations to the field. So, Dr. Wathik, in this case, how can universities and research institutions motivate entrepreneurs to focus more on space startups?
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed, for this question. Actually, when we talk about space, we talk about future. And when we talk about future, we talk about research. And definitely, if we would like the entrepreneurs, the investors, to work on getting innovative ideas and building a startup, we need the universities. And I think the university will play a key role in that direction. So the university will definitely encourage the entrepreneurs, the investors, to work closely, because when they, usually the entrepreneurs, when they would like to get up a new startup for any business, current business, they always looking for, like, success or profit. But with the space, when when some entrepreneur want to build a startup in space, so it will be a long-term investment rather than short-term investment, because it's all based on research. So with the support of government, as Mr. Khalid said, and other the private industry, that will help a lot. So the university will lead the direction of research, will encourage the entrepreneur to come to the universities. So the university will need to get a lot of initiatives by building research centers, incubators, to give, security to the entrepreneurs and to the student as well. Because usually, I think that most of the innovative ideas will come from the youth. And most of the youth that have potential to create innovative ideas are the high school students, or even primary school students, or university students. I'm giving you a very great initiatives being done by University of Dubai. Although University of Dubai, the College of Engineering and IT University of Dubai is quite new with respect to other universities in UAE, but we have created or done a lot of initiatives to that direction of space. The first one is the collaboration with the Emirates Space Agency to work on a joint projects. That will be an excellent opportunity. So the other universities are doing that as well. University of Dubai also worked with the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center to establish a research lab in the university. And this research lab is working now, very successful, working on applying artificial intelligence techniques, algorithms on analyzing the satellite images that will be supplied by Dubai Sat from Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. So this is another initiative that other university could do. The third initiative actually is we are working closely with the Muassasat Watani and Future Lab to develop a Mars simulator at University of Dubai. So Mars simulator is based on virtual reality to simulate the environment of Mars, and this will open a lot of doors to entrepreneurs to come and get useful of these data to establish their startups of how to convert the non-livable environment of Mars to livable one. In addition to that, definitely we'll have a physical place in United Arab Emirates as a simulator of Mars, because as most of you know that the soil of United Arab Emirates is very similar to the Mars soil. So this is again another opportunity. And the last initiative, but we have a lot more, is the collaboration with the Krypto Lab. And University of Dubai and the Krypto Lab are creating incubator at University of Dubai to enable students of University of Dubai and all universities in UAE, in addition to the community. Anybody from community can come to bring their ideas, and we as University of Dubai encourage the ideas toward space, because any startup in the space, it will not only serve the space, but will serve the community and that direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wathak. Dr. Wathak actually mentioned investors and how entrepreneurs from universities can move a step forward to getting their ideas out there in market. So speaking of investments, we have been seeing a lot of investments in other startups, but however, the new space investment is a market that needs to be addressed. So turning our focus into investors and VCs, I'd like to ask Mr. Usher, what are some of the lessons learned from previous investment trends, something that we could adopt for space investments?
So first of all, I'd like to say that, space is for the dreamers. So a lot of the, so traditionally space, research in space, investment in space has been traditionally government initiatives, because these are large-scale initiatives, they were capital intensive. What's interesting recently is that we've seen an influx of entrepreneurs and dreamers who have started their own private businesses, and SpaceX and Blue Origin, which have actually led to a reduction in the cost of doing whatever it takes to get to the moon or to Mars. So that's been interesting. When I looked at that, I obviously also got very excited. But then when I look at, so I'm a VC, I invest in different technologies, and when I think about some of the best technology investments that I've made in other sectors, they weren't actually the first generation. Actually, they were always, in the first generation, there's always like the dreamers who go and they pave the way and open new frontiers. So that's always interesting. And in that process, you create winners and you create a lot of things that didn't work. To me, what's interesting is the next generation of the next wave. The next wave is really people who are watching and learning and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, seeing where the opportunities are. There's a lot of opportunity in failure, so a lot of things didn't work. But the next wave is actually the thing that's very exciting to me. So I've been watching and learning and observing what SpaceX and Blue Origin and the tens and tens of startups that I've looked at and seeing what they're trying to solve. And I think that the next wave is going to be the interesting one where we'll be able to capitalize on the learnings of the first wave and be able to come up with capital efficient solutions and solve those problems. That's one thing. The other thing is it's still very high risk. So because VCs tend to invest in high risk investments, but the reality is VCs are risk averse. So we like to see everything fail and then see what works and then invest in that because that's kind of interesting.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Asher Siddiqui. It was actually quite interesting. Based on the previous chat we had, you said that this was more analogous to the Californian gold rush, where you have other businesses benefiting from the new space that is coming up. I noticed Mr. Alan Herbert was giving a thumbs up when Dr. Wathek said that it was usually the high school students and the university students coming up with new ideas. But however, it can be, space in general can be both inspirational or fearful. So some people might be discouraged in pursuing ideas or businesses in space. With the incubation programs such as the GeoTech, which enables startups, and NanoRacks itself enabling or facilitating space startups that actually facilitate addressing different market needs, I'm sure that there are plenty of challenges to be solved. And in this case, I would ask you, what are some of the major challenges faced by SMEs or startups in general? What do they face globally when reaching out to current market to address the current problems in the market?
Well, first of all, I want to say to all the young people, everybody here, this is the best time in the history of the world to be involved in space. This is like the start of the internet. I have seen so much creativity because we enable companies to go into space. And it doesn't cost billions of dollars. You don't have to be Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson or Elon Musk. You can be a regular person, but it's your creativity that is important in how you present it. I've seen so many different things. And of course, money is a big factor. Another factor is mentorship. And you have that all here. We just opened our office here a week and a half ago, and I'm excited. I was involved with the UAE Space Agency in something called Test in Orbit, which was a competition. And what we got from young university students were amazing. And some of those could be businesses. I was at UAU University, and somebody was giving a presentation on essential oils. And I said, wait a minute, what about trying to do essential oils in space? What is that going to smell like? There's an idea there. And everybody does not have to be an engineer. You could be a marketing person, a writer. I'm going to give you one example here, and I'm not going to take too much time. We had a couple, a husband and wife, they decided to develop what they call a space oven. Do you realize there's no oven in space? And if people are going to live in space, on the moon, on the Mars, you got to eat. And you don't want to eat the same thing all the time. So what they did is, through NanoRacks, we helped them develop an oven. It went through a lot of phases with NASA, because NASA is very, very picky on what you're going to put on the space station. We finally got it done. It's launching next month. But you know how they got it funded? They put it out there in social media. Doubletree Hilton saw it, decided to work with them, funded the oven, is spending millions on marketing, and they're going to bake the first cookie in space. Now, what is the scientific value? There's huge scientific value there, because what is that cookie going to look like? What is that cookie going to taste like? But the reason why I'm telling you this is, open up your mind. Think of all types of different things. They're going to need entertainment in space. They're going to need food in space. I have a list of 8 different things that people will be in space. And believe me, because we send stuff into space, we get to hear all kinds of different ideas. Some are crazy, and some are really good. And that's what I'm trying to tell young people here in the UAE, in this region. You have all it takes. There's Elon Musk, there's everybody else, but we have all that initiative here, right in this country, and you have all the support that you need to make this happen. So I'm excited, and I want you to just open up your mind, start writing things down, and start putting your good ideas into place, and you may come up with something that's really disrupting the whole space industry. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Your energy was quite contagious, and I'm sure that it sparked a lot of more ideas and more curiosity and more creativity. Hopefully, there are going to be more projects going up there in space other than an oven and essential oils. I would like to ask, so we have about 5 to 10 minutes for questions from the audience. So if anybody would like to ask a question to our esteemed panelists, now is the time.
Good evening to one and all present here. My question is, what is the future of aerospace in UAE?
What the question from the gentleman is, what is the future of aerospace in the UAE? Let's do it.
Well, if we focus on the space as one element of the aerospace, we can say that is growing. We have a lot of opportunities at local universities and also at research centers, So it's not necessary opportunities in UAE Space Agency, but we encourage, all the youth here to look to the opportunities that the UAE Space Agency is trying to establish. Also, Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center, like in Dubai University, in the National Space Center, in Al Ain, in University of Sharjah. So this university now creating research centers. And research is a career by itself, In terms of manufacturing, in terms of building capabilities, the UAE also into that field. Now we have Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center designing spacecraft, and also a new center established in Al Ain will start designing and also building spacecraft in Al Ain, but a small size of a spacecraft. So for the size of the UAE space, UAE as a country, I think there is a lot of activities and a lot of opportunities. It's just a matter you to direct your attention, your research into space and aerospace, and I think that will be very beneficial for all of you, especially the youth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. Dr. Saleh would like to share some thoughts.
Allow me to just add a few thoughts to this. Aerospace industry, the UAE has always been there since the inception. So if you look at the airports, military sector, airport sector, airport services and plane services, it has been around for about 30, 40 years. So we can say this sector has always been here. And over the past, I think around 14 years, there has been many different verticals in that sector that have been developed. So in terms of, I don't have the numbers, but in terms of the growth per capita in that sector, I would expect it to be very high, actually, for a country like the UAE. And as Mr. Khalid said, it's very clear. If you follow the news, there is quite a lot of growth. And we look forward to growth in startups. We're trying to catalyze startups in this industry. But overall, it's an industry that has been there. It's growing. And hopefully, we'll see more of it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Do we have another question from the audience? I see one more raised hand.
Hi, I'm a PhD student from Khalifa University. So first of all, I would like to thank for giving me this opportunity. It was a really delightful experience. So my question is to Mr. Allen, sir. So you were talking about a list of 10 space ideas. So what is the probability of for me to know about it?
That's what we want to get from you. We want to get the ideas from the youth here. When I go speak to young people, there's so many different ideas they have in space that are totally outside of what people think outside the box. And I want to hear that from you. And that's why these competitions are so important, because you get to see the creativity here in the UAE. It was really great to see what was going on. So what I would tell you to do is write it down, send it to people, talk to people, see if it's a good product idea, how it can go. But you have all the resources that you need right here in the UAE.
Because of the best interest of time.
My question is to the panel, but anybody can answer. What I have been observing is that we have different nations sending different missions to space, to Moon, to Mars, like that. But the thing is, these are taking too much time. Like recently, ISRO sent one mission to Moon. It took almost 2 months' time. So what we require is the speed. This has to be reduced. So UAE will be doing any initiative to have joint venture with NASA or any other ISRO kind of agencies to find out a very high speed mission which we can even think about reaching to the other stars and planets. Because in this current speed, we will not be able to see we are reaching to the other star or some faraway planets. So UAE will be doing any initiative. As we can see, UAE have done a lot of initiatives in other industries. So I just want to know in the space also, UAE will be giving the leadership for that.
Actually, at UAE, there are a lot of success in direction of space. I mean, Emirates Space Agency have done a lot to that directions. Actually, I'm very closely working with the Mohammed Barash Space Center because we have research lab with them. So I know very well about their history. So there is, as long as there is a vision in the division of the leaders of the United Arab Emirates to a certain target, there are a lot of work to be done. And definitely, if there is like, for example, I'm taking example of Mars mission. Mars mission, simply by 2117, which is almost after 100 years or 98 years from now, United Arab Emirates will build a colony in Mars. So to achieve that target, it cannot be done within 1 year or 10 years or 20 years. It has to be done through 100 years. And it's not just like, this is a vision, but there are a lot of steps being done by agencies like Emirates Space Agency, Mohammed Barash Space Agency, Mohammed Barash Space Center toward that direction. So Mohammed Barash Center has successfully designed and built satellites by Emirati, not expat, by Emirati engineers, researchers, and they were launched to the space, like Dubai Sat 1, Dubai Sat 2, and now next month with Khalifa Sat as well. So there are a lot of strategic planning, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and 100 years. I'm impressed that I never seen such initiative by any country, maybe in the world, to have a vision of 100 years plan. So the space, as I said earlier, it's all about research, and research takes time. So this is inevitable.
You mentioned the propulsion or how to reach to far destination. This is a very complex technologies. For example, to reach Mars, it takes around 7 to 8 months. There are new technologies that a lot of research centers internationally looking into this area. Now, if we look at the UAE, what we have done, we established something called Science Technology Innovation Roadmap. So we have identified what are the technologies that we want to invest in the short and long term. And one of the field is the propulsion. So what we are doing is an incremental increase of level of R&D at local universities. So we started, for example, with coordinating with Khalifa University and UAE University, where they will start introducing a curriculum or minors in propulsion and rocket design and build-up. So that will take a little bit time, but the interest is there. It will take a little bit time. It's not necessary in the conventional type of propulsion, but it will be like electrical propulsion or fusion propulsion or whatever that we foresee is an opportunity for the UAE to invest. So we just started in this area. And we will not be able to cover all technologies at the same time. So we have to go into incremental phases of development.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Khalid. We will be concluding this session. So what came out of this session was that we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are engaged and motivated. This is just the first time that we are paving the path for a lot of ideas to take shape, a lot of entrepreneurs who are going to be the shapers of the new space. And despite the high risks of investment, like what Mr. Asher said, and having a lot of different ideas come to investors and VCs, we do see that VCs and the interest in the space sector is still growing. We saw that AI and machine learning can be merged with satellite technology and space technologies in general to bring more value. We had Dr. Saleh also speak about different founders who would be working with growth hacks, with different incubators to basically take this idea to space. And we obviously need to engage every member in the ecosystem to enable space exploration and entrepreneurship in space. So without any further ado, I would like to hand over the stage to Mr. Anas Zainuddin. And thank you so much, all the panelists. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you, everybody, for your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Adnan, and thank you to all of the panelists for the inspirational and thoughtful discussions that were shared with everyone, which I believe everybody found quite valuable. One of the key things that we want to highlight in terms of any entrepreneurial success is the diversity of all of the different elements of the ecosystem which you've just seen, such as government-based entities, private companies, VCs, universities, and other entities. So this diversity of all of these different institutions is a major level of support for any entrepreneurial initiative or innovative initiative that takes place. And these are also the things that the students and the entrepreneurs should pursue as a level of support. We are very fortunate that we live in a nation that is very entrepreneurial in terms of mindset, that is driven by innovation, that is striving to become one of the most innovative nations on the face of this earth. And the biggest potential lies within the students that are still in the universities, that are going to be graduating, is to pursue all of the different opportunities that exist in terms of the funding that is available, the incubators, the accelerators, the institutions that support entrepreneurship in order to expedite and accelerate the process of transforming your ideas into purpose-built innovations. This is one of the things that we always support, and one of the things that we also appreciate is the partnership between the private and the public sector in terms of enabling and accelerating these initiatives and have them transform into final products that are market ready, that are scalable, and that become disruptive technologies, whether it's in the space industry or any other domain. So thank you all again. And it's now time to introduce you to the members of the jury who will be asking questions to the startups. We have Dr. Saleh Al-Hashimi, Dr. Khalid Al-Hashimi, Asher Siddiqui, and Dr. Tariq Taha, who has not been introduced, but Dr. Taha has over 12 years of experience in AI technologies, working for both industry and academia. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the pitches of this, by the startups. The first startup that we will have pitching tonight is Farmin, which is a smart agriculture platform that is driven by artificial intelligence and satellite data. And I would like to call up on the stage here Dr. Ali Al-Hammadi, who is the founder and CEO of Farmin, to pitch, followed by the Q&A by the jury.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Anas. My name is Ali. I am the founder of Farmin, and I will be showing how farming can shape the future of agriculture. I got exposed to farming and agriculture from a young age, as I loved to spend my weekends on my parents' farm. Later, when I went to Texas for my studies, I saw the similarities in landscape and climate, but a striking difference in farming practices, the opportunities and optimization that existed there, but not here, not in the MENA region. While Texas is one of the top food exporters in the world, most of the MENA region don't even produce half of their own consumption. A big difference is their use of data. Farmers in the region spend more water and resources while having comparably lower yields. Thus, we are introducing Farmin, a platform combining satellite imagery with artificial intelligence, deployed to farmers and regulators in UAE and across the MENA region. Farmin is able to improve crop yields, recommend farmers what to plant, when to plant, and when to harvest, allow farmers to reduce their consumption of water and fertilizers efficiently, and contribute to the overall economy by generating more agricultural output while reducing dependence and reliance on foreign imported food. Most importantly, it positively impacts our environment and climate change. Farming provides information about the soil nutrients, so the amount of phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen in the ground, the level of water and usage, and the likelihood of pest outbreak. We believe it can be benefiting to both farmers and regulators. For farmers, it allows them to remotely monitor their own farm, assess its health, and respond to changes in the yield. If any issue arises, it will alert them and recommend an action to be taken. For regulators, it will facilitate communication with farmers and enable continuous monitoring of all farms as they plan ahead for possible outbreaks and long-term strategies. Therefore, we developed two platforms, one for regulators and a mobile app designed for farmers. Now I will show you 1-minute video of the platform that we developed. Let's look at the regulator platform. This is one of the cases that we studied and matched with 80% accuracy. These are farms based on sprinkler irrigation systems. For example, the regulator can look at this region to know what it consists of. Simply here from the analysis panel, it will display around 1,000 hectares, 57% of which is alfalfa, and the remaining is rhodos grass. And this can also be visually noticed. For more information, I can click on a specific farm. It will show if there is an issue and how to fix it. For example, here in the middle of this farm, you can see lower yield compared to its edge, indicating the need for water and possible irrigation problem. The other platform is the mobile app designed for farmers. The app provides statistics on the farm yield and the best time of harvest, among other information. It automatically divides the farm by color according to the area need. For example, the green color indicates healthy yield, while the yellow color indicates low yield caused by lack of nutrients, and thus it will recommend fertilizers. We tested the product across the market and we talked to farmers and regulators. And it seems there is a demand for such solution. The UAE market size is estimated to be around $5 billion, while the MENA region is around $200 billion industry. The MENA region is home to more than 100 million acres of arable land in use. So there is lots of opportunity to grow and optimize. The app charges farmers 50 cents per acre per month, while providing customizable packages for regulators. With 1% of the available market, there is a potential revenue of up to $6 million. To overcome some of the limitations that we faced, such as resolution, we plan to switch to premium satellite and drone technology, where we can increase the accuracy many times over. We also plan to integrate Internet of Things to increase communication between various systems and allow automation. The soil testing is a great addition, as it will allow us and will provide a comprehensive data validation. As for the team, I myself, Ali Al-Hammadi, am assistant professor at Khalifa University, have PhD in biomolecular engineering from Rice University, Houston, Texas, where I worked mostly doing computational modeling. And my CTO, Dr. Ziyang, with more experience in programming and artificial intelligence. We are looking for $300,000 to complete the product, acquire data, and launch the product. And we are seeking partnership with various government entities and farmers association. To finalize, our analysis indicates that the efficient use of data can save up to 30% of water and fertilizers worldwide. So imagine the future with farming. For more information, please, you can email me or contact me, and I will be happy to discuss more. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. And I just have a question about the business model.
Yes.
So how do you plan to monetize, knowing that your clients can be farmers, your clients can be government agencies? I very much like the simplicity, because regulators will have other use of the data and farmers will have a different kind of use. But how do you plan to monetize? Where do you see your major clients? And will it be more like a service model, a subscription model, or maybe some other kind of model?
Well, I believe a subscription model works much better for such scenario. For the farmer, we can give them like, as I stated, it's based on the acre. So the larger your acre, the better it is. In UAE, usually, well, my parents' farm, for example, is 300 by 200. So that is around 60,000 feet, or more, like around 1.5 acre, right? So if we look at the yearly amount that they will have to pay, it will be like around 30, 40 dirhams, right? But the benefit they will get is huge out of this, right? As for regulators, it depends on what exactly they want, right? For example, if I give it to agriculture, they are looking at continuous monitoring of the farm, right? If I give it to climate change, they want to know, for example, what is the emission that's coming out. And so we plan to build the full product and then tailor it to the needs for each one of them. And then, of course, we will plan to have like an initial membership where later they can pay a fraction of that amount for maintenance, for example.
What is your immediate activity that you will do after getting like 300,000 K?
Well, the platform that I showed now require extensive reprocessing of all data, right? For example, the one we showed here, if we want to do another one, we did a couple of them, but every time we do a new one, we have to start and train the model from the beginning, as we are looking at a new area, right? So this is very time consuming and not efficient. I like efficiency from the end. And so our first things to do is we want it to be scalable. We want to build a product that is viable for large areas. And so this is where the money will go. So we'll be expanding more on, first, we want to acquire higher resolution, and then train the model further on this. So this is where the money will go.
So what milestone do you expect to achieve with the $300,000? So once you've spent that money, where do you think you'll be?
Well, the $300,000, I think, will take us only to finish the project. So to have a completely working product, and we are able to launch it and get some traction. I don't think it will take us much more. If we want more, then we need probably more money for later.
So it'll get to a point where it'll start to generate revenues, where it'll be product ready for customers and starts to generate revenues.
Yeah, so we'll finish the product, we will launch it. I think with the 300,000, we can get a couple of trial customers. We can get their feedback, maybe generate some revenue on the time. And then we'll probably go for another round to increase the revenue and launch it maybe in the GCC.
You mentioned 80% accuracy.
Yes.
Can you explain how did you get this value?
Okay, if you remember from the analysis panel, this is one of the cases. This is actually a real case, and there is a published report based on it. Okay? So what we did is we looked at the consumption of water. We looked at the amount produced from this range. And we looked at how much is alfalfa. By the way, alfalfa is bersim, right? And rhodas grass, how much is each of them, right? And if you remember from the value that we had here, for example, alfalfa was around 56 point something, right? In the published report, it was around 60, 59 point something, right? So this is one of the things. but also the amount of water that they were using, comparable to the amount of water that we were expecting, was also very close. So for this case, actually, it was more than 80%. But because we had other cases where it was around 70 something, so we are taking the averages around 80.
So you mentioned you recommend actions for farmers, right?
Which one?
So when you discover that something needs improvement or
right.
So you do a recommendation, right?
Yes.
Did you do this in consultation with farmers? Do you know what actions farmers are looking for in a certain scenario and how they can react to it? And what cost benefit would that result in?
Okay, so one of the cases that we actually looked at, but we didn't test it completely, is we had one of the cases in Liwa where there was an issue with palm trees. So some pesticides were infecting that. And so what they were doing, so like the typical scenario, what they were doing is, okay, I noticed after some time, they noticed that there is an issue with this tree. And so they will go and they will be like, okay, what exactly is this issue? So they will contact the farming service center, and the farming service center will send, I don't know what they call them, I think they call them doctors or tree doctors. And so he will come and inspect and then recommend certain pesticides, right? When we looked at that land from above, we were finding that there is a possibility. We couldn't get like 100% that there will be a pest outbreak in this region, but we got almost to 60% potential that there will be a pest outbreak in that area. And so maybe with more accuracy with the data, we can get higher accuracy in that. So instead of waiting for the pesticides for the pest to infect the tree, we can tell that there is a potential, and so they can take protective measures against it.
Did you evaluate how much benefit or cost cutting you will introduce to the farmers by doing that?
Okay, for the pesticide part, no. But the part that we were calculating the benefit was mostly on the amount of water and the amount of fertilizers, right? Because based on our calculation, at least you will be reducing by 10%. And 10% of an entire season is a huge amount of water and fertilizers. So this is a huge benefit that you will be saving. So this is actually where we think that farmers will be pleased to pay us, right? Because you will be saving lots of amount based on the amount of water and the amount of fertilizers, and so you'll be willing to spend little amount for the monitoring. Any more questions? Okay, Anas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Congratulations to you on the success of Farmin in such a very short period of time. And we wish you all the best and support in developing your platform further and being able to fully market it very shortly, inshallah. Now for the second pitch with the next company, which is Ayn Astra. Ayn Astra offers a land deformation monitoring platform which uses satellite data and advanced processing algorithms. And presenting Ayn Astra is Mr. Adham Al-Khaja.
So, hello everyone. My name is Adham Al-Khaja, and I'm the co-founder of Ayn Astra. Our story basically began a couple of years ago when we wanted to monitor land deformation in certain areas. So, we took the UAE as a whole and looked at the total area, which is 83,600 kilometers squared. And then we removed the desert part, which is 80% of that. We're left with 20%. 5% is agriculture, 4% is irrigated forests, and 11% is used for housing, infrastructure, and buildings. So we looked closer into that region, which is the 20%. We saw that the population increased from 4 million from 2006 to 2019, from 4 million to 10 million. So more housing land is needed. And then we found that for agriculture and irrigated forests, they're mostly irrigated with groundwater. What does this all mean? So looking further, on your way to work, to university or school, you might have seen these cracks all over the place. But they're most of the time, they're ignored. They're like, okay, we'll just leave it. It's going to be fixed tomorrow. But if you look at it at a larger scale, from satellites, it's happening all over the region. So this is where Ayn Astra came in, which is your eyes in the sky. where we provide land monitoring, continuous land monitoring based on the satellites that we have, and we give you our clients full intelligence of what's happening to their land or their region of interest. So why would you choose us in the market? First of all, there's no one else in the market in the UAE locally. We're unique. What we provide is unique, and we have a team that with experiences and expertise that they can tailor any solution to any problem. And also, we provide these through 3 products. We have House Watch, Farm Watch, and District Watch. In House Watch, we watch individual houses. And in Farm Watch, we will watch a larger area, which are farms. And also District Watch, we even look at more larger areas. So we present this through our online dashboard. All you need to do is to choose your region of interest, and we'll do all the processing for you, where we'll give you spatial patterns of your region of interest, and also aggregate values and risk levels. And also, if you want more details, we can give you a detailed report of soil characteristics, very accurate GPS measurements, and groundwater levels. So what happens behind the screen? It happens in 2 boxes, data acquisition and data processing. We acquire the data from satellites, measure the phase shift, and determine the deformation. Along with measurements and digital elevation maps, we build for our clients meaningful deformation maps based on their region of interest. So you might ask me, is this accurate, happening from 500 kilometers above Earth? Yes, we proved that through our case study where we studied a region of interest in the UAE, and we found it's accurate to a few millimeters. And also, it's cheaper, more reliable, and covers a wider area than GPS measurements. So I'm presenting to you the team, which Professor Prashant is supposed to, yeah, Professor Prashant is here, and Professor Vito, which are well-known professors in the remote sensing industry. Dr. Prajwal and Dr. Nicholas are students of Professor Prashant, and myself, Adam Al-Khaja, Dr. to be. So our current status is that we're perfecting our data processing algorithms. We have an initial user interface, and we're trying to reach out as much as clients as possible to know what they really need from us, so we can tailor a solution to the real needs. What we're asking for is $300,000. We'll use on technical equipment, new hires, and basically product design, data acquisition, and marketing. And this is only just to take us to the next step. And before I finish, if we have a potential client in this room with 50% advance payment, we will deliver a tailored solution within 4 months. And you can come to us for more details at our booth over there. And thank you for listening to us. We are Ayn Astra.
I'm not from this field, but my question is, can you produce 3D maps that are reliable and accurate? Surface maps, yani, for maybe applications.
Yeah, that's where the technology actually comes from. You know, originally the technology was developed to build 3D maps, digital elevation models with high accuracy. With more and more data being available, this is going to improve as well. And then what we are trying to do here is more of differential interferometry. It's the same concept, but doing the imaging at different times, so that we get the difference in the heights of 2 times, basically. The technology is the same. If you do it at once together, you get the digital elevation model. There are several missions doing these things nowadays. And if you do it at 2 different times, you get the deformations.
Thanks.
You have shown example for roads and houses. Now, the algorithms that you are building,
yes,
can it be used on a green area before building and predict that these issues?
Yeah, if there is no significant temporal decorrelation, in the sense, for example, you know, like dunes and all those things which are continuously moving, if there is nothing like that, then of course we can do that, you know. In areas where we have dunes and all those things, there are other techniques, you know, using short baseline interferometry and all those things, where we do short intervals of monitoring to derive approximations of deformation. But if there is no temporal decorrelation or with time, then it's much more easier to do actually, even if it is vegetation and so on.
the initial investment, same question as we asked before, what
Yes.
would be the immediate
Yes.
activities that you will do, and what are you planning, how are you going to sustain your business?
So basically, this initial investment will be put in finalizing the product, launching the product, and then bringing the customers to us so we can start generating revenue. That 300,000 over there is just to reach that point so we can start generating revenue. But after that, of course, we're going to need more to keep on going to the next series and next phases.
What's your addressable market and addressable market in terms of size for this service? And how different are you to other service providers, if any, to this service? Last but not least, who are your potential clients? Are they government? If you can give us some idea about that, would be great.
Should I take it? Okay. So our interested market, basically, we've been talking to a lot of entities. So those who want to build houses, for example. We can target individuals. We can target the government if they want to look at a certain location. For example, they want to build a building or anything. Basically, it comes at the end to the size of the project. For example, if your project is too costly, you want to avoid as much risk as possible. So we're going to do that analysis for you and give you a complete analysis that, okay, this is what you're dealing with. So you're aware of what risk are you going to take when you put this much money in this certain project.
So you're relying solely on satellite images, right?
It's a lot more than that. Satellite images give one part. As that slide which Adam was showing, it gives the phase difference. But then taking that phase difference into a bankable deformation value is a big process which involves a lot more processing. We need in situ measurements, of course, digital elevation models and all those things. And there is a lot of validation that needs to be done as well for recorrections.
Yeah, some of this data is freely available at low resolution, but others you have to obtain it or buy it which could cost you a lot of money, right? And they are less frequently available, so you cannot really get this information all the time. So have you done an analysis of how long you should take, how often you should take images and consider the deformation? Because you might be offering a service that you cannot really in reality provide, right?
There are two types of answers for this. Fortunately, a deformation pattern is slow. It doesn't happen drastic unless there's a real geological hazard. Okay, so that helps us in doing our work a bit slowly. It's not a problem. But there's also other side. There is the real factor, which is the temporal decorrelation, because things change on ground from time to time. So we need to get an image, intermediate image in between before things really change on ground. So right now, if you look at Sentinel from Europe, which is offering free images at coarse resolution at every 16 days, every 15 to 16 days, that's a good interval. If you want to monitor something even more closely in short intervals, you might need something like constellations that are actually coming up. Radar data was not very abundant in the past years, but nowadays it's becoming very abundant. More and more data will start coming in. And as we build this database and time series, basically, that's what is gold for us.
So how could you monetize that database? If you could explain that a little bit more.
Because whenever you're trying to do, imagine you're going to a new development and you want to see how exactly is that suitable for you. So you would want to know the history of how that looked like before. So satellite image, looking at previous satellite images is a different story because nothing will be visible on it. It's a two-dimensional map. But if you go back in time with these deformation maps, you will know actually if it was really stable there, or have you seen anything in the surrounding regions around that? Was there some sort of alarm in that region that triggers a more detailed analysis that has to be made before you start doing any work or in any infrastructure development there? So there, of course, we need to look into ways of monetizing. For some people, this is why it should be customized in a way. For some people for whom the infrastructure or the construction they want to make is very important, our product might be more valuable than what we even think. So we need to look at strategies of how to monetize this thing. But there is value, definitely. At this stage, we can say that there is value. How to price it and all those things really depends on what the clients are going to do at that location.
Do you have any potential clients that you're speaking to right now, or how far along are you in that client engagement?
We've been speaking, Adam was speaking to a couple of people at ADNOC. We've been in touch with ADNH, Abu Dhabi National Housing, for instance. Initial part of our work was actually supported by Abu Dhabi Municipality. Environment Agency was providing also some data, so they're aware of what we are doing, basically.
So is it government sector or private sector that are your more likely clients?
We would love to talk to some private sector people. We just got some contacts with Aldar. We'll be talking to them because we need to really talk to these people who are doing large-scale developments. That's where the real market might be. Right now, we're focused on product development and trying to reach the needs of what we think are the needs of the customers. And then we would get feedback from different people and try to customize the product according to the needs.
Thank you, Ayn Astra, for the presentation and for the pitch and for your team. And congratulations on the efforts that you have achieved also in a very short period of time. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings us a great honor that you have all attended the event here this evening. It's a great pleasure to have you all. And it's an honor to celebrate space sciences together and for you to have invested your time in listening to the brilliant solutions that were presented by Farmin and Ayn Astra. And as an innovation hub, we are always investing in passionate entrepreneurs with pioneering ideas in collaboration with prestigious entities that also believe in these ideas and that want to sponsor and support them. We are continuously on the path to empower entrepreneurs with the tools, opportunities, and community to grow their ideas into a business. We are very grateful to have had this opportunity to work with the UAE Space Agency. We commend the UAE Space Agency for the ambitious initiative it has taken upon itself to be a pioneer in space sciences, to be a leader in the UAE innovation ecosystem, to have come up with such a program, to have believed in students, in entrepreneurs, and in engineers and scientists, in being able to transform their ideas into market-ready products through an enabler, such as an accelerator, as in Krypto Labs. What you saw today was a manifestation of that successful partnership between the private sector and the public sector, where both entities work together on this initiative to create what was simply an idea and transform it into the product that you saw here today. And even more important, to see the foundation and the roadmap that these entities have come up with and their path forward to make this grow and to develop this platform further. This is exactly an example of contributing to the knowledge economy by bringing founders who have the entrepreneurial mindset that create a startup by simply transforming an idea into this entity, by growing this team, by seeking funding, by further employing people, and by making this grow. This is a direct contribution to the UAE local economy. And it was a great privilege and honor for us to have been part of this in partnership with the Space Agency. At Krypto Labs, we recognize the value of tailored incubation programs, such as the one that you have just witnessed, the GeoTech Innovation Program for the success of startups. And as part of our continuous improvement efforts, our team has conducted an elaborate study on the innovation ecosystem in the UAE and in the region, and has determined the existence of a gap that lies between incubation programs, where disruptive ideas are transformed into businesses, and acceleration programs, where established startups accelerate and scale up their growth. And with that, we are delighted to announce tonight the launch of a new startup program that merges between both the incubation and acceleration programs with the objective to maximize and optimize the growth of startups. This new program we are launching is called The Bridge, and it's designed to do exactly that, to bridge the gap between incubation and acceleration by providing an opportunity for startups such as these ones here to not be able to fall off that cliff, but yet transition seamlessly to the next phase of acceleration, be able to receive the necessary funding and be able to progress their products further. Startups selected to join the program will access 4 months of training, mentorship, and support on par with global standards, and will enable them to grow their entrepreneurial capabilities and stand out from the competition. And for anyone who is interested, for any of the stakeholders, the entities interested in finding out more about these programs or how to partner with such initiatives, our colleagues and our team will be at the booths there. There's a booth for the Space Agency, and there's a booth for Krypto Labs, as well as booths for the other university students that previously showcased their ideas to the program. Before concluding tonight's session, I would like to again thank the UAE Space Agency for its unconditional support of the program. Hence, if I can first please ask Dr. Saleh Al-Hashmi to join me on the stage in thanking the Space Agency, and I'd like to call on Dr. Khalid Al-Hashmi from the UAE Space Agency to please come on up on the stage. I would like to also invite Dr. Fatima Al-Aidarous to please come on up on the stage. Dr. Fatima was instrumental in the overall success of the program, acting as the project manager on behalf of the Space Agency, and she spent countless time and effort throughout the program in supporting our team throughout this journey. I'd also like to thank the 2 successful startups, Farmin and Ayn Astra, for their brilliant presentations and the work that they have achieved in such an expeditious period of time. We truly believe in you. We believed in you from the beginning, and we believe in you even more now that you have demonstrated your full capability of what you have done. So I would like to call on the teams of both Farmin and Ayn Astra to please join us up on the stage. I would also like to thank the jury who helped the UAE Space Agency and Krypto Labs during the selection of the 2 winning startups. Dr. Michael Fomilis, Dr. Federico Karagulian, Dr. Muhammad Adnan, Patikrit Banerjee, and Asher Siddiqui, as well as the mentors that supported the startups from the beginning, Omar Al-Busaidi, Spencer Lodge, Jose Francisco Fernandez, Mubarak Al-Hilali, and Asher Siddiqui. Let's give them all a round of applause. I would also like to thank the universities for giving us the opportunity to introduce the GeoTech Innovation Program to their students. And I invite you all to visit the booths that they had. A lot of the applicants to these programs were from the universities. And particularly, I would like to thank the University of Dubai for their initiative for believing in our innovation programs to the point that Krypto Labs will be launching an innovation hub within the University of Dubai as a partnership starting this month, inshallah. And last but not least, I'd like to again thank the Krypto Labs team for a flawlessly executed and successfully delivered program. So all of our colleagues at Krypto Labs, Hanan Khaldi, Maria Del Mar Navarro, and Fatima Abdullah, for the phenomenal job that they did in delivering this flawlessly executed project from start to finish. And now it brings me great pleasure to conclude today's successful demo. Thank you all for attending and bringing us a step closer to positioning the UAE to be a leader globally in space sciences. We invite you all to remain for snacks and refreshments, and we invite everyone to stick around for the networking, and thank you all very much. We wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you for coming, and we wish to continue working with the Space Agency and with all of the various local Abu Dhabi and UAE-based entities on similar innovation initiatives that empower entrepreneurs to create such innovative products. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I really enjoyed giving the pitch and getting their amazing feedback and comments. I was excited as we went through all this journey. I would like to thank Krypto Labs and UAE Space Agency for hosting such an amazing event and giving me such an amazing opportunity in front of the investors and the audience. They were really great in helping me throughout all the journey that I have and providing me with constant mentorship.
It was an amazing experience to talk in front of other entrepreneurs, governments, and industrial experts about what we do at Ayn Astra. Thank you, Krypto Labs and UAE Space Agency, for giving us the opportunity to pitch our idea today.